Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we'll continue Tieu Lac's journey as the elderly woman discovers a shocking secret. Tieu Lac may be carrying Mr. Jern, Quan's child, but instead of staying, she chooses to write one final letter and leave. If you enjoy this story, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next episode. The road from the market to the elderly woman's house was not far, but for Tieu Lac, every step felt like she was walking through a dream that refused to become clear. Her body was still weak. Her breathing had not completely settled, and the dizziness returned in small waves, rising and fading, then rising again before she could feel safe. The elderly woman held her carefully, not too tightly but firmly enough to keep her from falling. Every few steps, she turned to look at Tieu Lac's face. "Walk slowly, child. Don't rush. This road is a little slippery." "Yes, Grandma," Tieu Lac answered softly. Even now, she still tried to walk by herself. She did not want to lean too heavily on the old woman. She did not want to become the kind of person who appeared in someone's life only to bring trouble. That fear had followed her for so long that it had become almost natural. Even when someone helped her, the first thing she felt was not relief but guilt. The elderly woman seemed to understand that without needing to ask. "You don't have to be afraid of bothering me," she said gently. "When someone is sick, they should rest. That's all." Tieu Lac lowered her eyes. "I'm sorry, Grandma. I really didn't want to trouble you again." "Trouble?" the old woman repeated, shaking her head. "You almost fainted in the middle of the market. If I had left you there, then I would be the one who couldn't sleep tonight." Tieu Lac did not know what to say after that. Her throat tightened, and she could only nod. When they reached the old woman's house, the place was simple and quiet. There was nothing luxurious, nothing carefully decorated to impress anyone. But it had warmth, a small yard, a few old chairs, a kitchen that smelled faintly of smoke, rice, and vegetables. To Tieu Lac, who had been wandering from place to place, that ordinary warmth almost felt unreal. "Sit here," the elderly woman said, guiding her toward a chair. "No, Grandma, it's okay," Tieu Lac quickly said. "I'll just rest for a little while and then leave." The old woman looked at her with a mixture of pity and seriousness. "Leave? In this condition? I'm already bothering you too much. You haven't bothered me at all. Sit down first." Tieu Lac hesitated, then slowly sat. Her hands were still holding the basket, as if she was afraid that if she let go of it, she would lose the last thing that belonged to her. The elderly woman noticed, but did not point it out. She simply poured her a little water and placed it in front of her. "Drink some water. I'll go make something for you to eat." Tieu Lac immediately looked up. "No, Grandma, please don't. I'm not hungry." But her body betrayed her. The moment she said that, her stomach tightened quietly and her face changed. She had not eaten properly for days. Some meals had been too small to count as meals. Some had been skipped completely because she was too busy walking, working, or thinking about where she could stay that night. The elderly woman saw everything. "You say you're not hungry, but your face says otherwise," she said. "Just wait here." Before Tieu Lac could refuse again, the old woman had already gone into the kitchen. Left alone in the small room, Tieu Lac looked around. The house was quiet in a way that made her heart ache. It reminded her of what she did not have, a roof that did not reject her, a table where someone asked her to sit, a voice that told her to eat, not because she had earned it, but because she needed it. For a brief moment, she thought of Mr. Quan. At the farm, he had also given her that kind of feeling. He never said much, but his care was always there, in the meals he prepared, in the work he quietly helped with, in the way he looked at her when he thought she was too tired. He had made the farm feel like a place where she could breathe. And that was exactly why she had left. Because the more she stayed, the more she feared she would not be able to leave later. The more she accepted his kindness, the more painful it became to imagine a day when reality would take it away from her. Tieu Lac pressed her fingers together and forced herself to stop thinking. A short while later, the elderly woman came back with food. "Come, child, eat first." "Grandma, I really..." Don't refuse anymore, the old woman said, not harshly but firmly. You need strength. The meal was simple. There were vegetables, some pork cracklings, a little meat, and warm rice. Nothing special to people who ate properly every day. But when Tieu Lac looked at it, her eyes suddenly stung. She picked up the bowl carefully. Thank you, Grandma. Eat more. You're too pale. Tieu Lac took a small bite at first, then another. The warmth of the rice spread through her chest, and for the first time in many days, her body seemed to remember what it felt like to be cared for. She ate quietly, almost cautiously, as if afraid the meal would disappear if she accepted it too eagerly. This is delicious, she said after a while, her voice low. The old woman smiled faintly. It's just ordinary food. To me, Tieu Lac paused, swallowing the emotion rising in her throat. It's the best meal I've had in days. The elderly woman's smile faded slightly. She looked at Tieu Lac, then asked in a softer voice, Child, don't you have parents? Why are you wandering around like this? I saw you once before, and you were already alone then. Tieu Lac's hand stopped over the bowl. For a moment, she did not answer. The room became very quiet. Outside, the wind moved gently past the yard, but inside, the question seemed to touch a place Tieu Lac had carefully locked away. She began slowly. I only have foster parents. The old woman waited, but I don't live with them anymore. Why don't you go back to them? Tieu Lac lowered her head. I have my own reasons. I can't go back. She did not explain further. She could not. Some things were not only difficult to say, they were difficult even to remember. And there were wounds that became deeper every time someone asked why they existed. The elderly woman did not push her. If you can't say it, then don't say it, she said gently. Everyone has something they don't want to talk about. Tieu Lac looked up, surprised by the kindness in those words. The old woman placed more food into her bowl. Just eat. When you're healthy again, you can decide where to go. But for now, don't think too much. Yes, Grandma. Tieu Lac continued eating, but as the meal went on, the elderly woman began watching her more carefully, not in a way that made Tieu Lac uncomfortable, but with the quiet attention of someone who had lived long enough to understand the language of a tired body. Tieu Lac's face was pale. Her hands were cold. Sometimes when the smell of food rose too strongly, her expression changed for a second, as if she was trying to hold back nausea. She also looked exhausted in a strange way, not only from hunger or walking, but from something deeper. After the meal, the old woman poured her more water and sat across from her. Child, she said, tell me honestly, have you been feeling dizzy like this often? Tieu Lac looked confused. Yes, lately it happens sometimes. Do you feel tired even when you haven't done much? Tieu Lac nodded slowly. Yes, but I thought it was because I've been working too much. And when you smell certain foods, do you feel uncomfortable? Like you want to vomit? Tieu Lac froze slightly. Yes, she whispered. Sometimes. But I thought maybe my stomach was weak. The elderly woman's eyes grew more serious. Tieu Lac noticed the change and suddenly felt uneasy. Grandma, what's wrong with me? The old woman did not answer right away. She reached out her hand. Let me see your palm. Tieu Lac hesitated, then placed her hand in the old woman's palm. The elderly woman looked at it quietly. Her thumb pressed gently against Tieu Lac's hand. Then she studied her face again. The silence stretched longer than Tieu Lac expected, and with every passing second, an unnamed fear began rising in her chest. Grandma, she asked again, her voice smaller now. Is something wrong? The old woman looked at her with both concern and caution. Before I say anything, answer me one question first. Tieu Lac nodded. Are you married? Tieu Lac's heart skipped for no reason she could understand. No, she said softly, I'm not married. The elderly woman's expression became even heavier. She held Tieu Lac's hand for another moment, then asked the question that made the air in the room suddenly feel colder. Then tell me, when was the last time you had your period? Tieu Lac went completely still. For several seconds, she could not speak. She only stared at the old woman while the questions slowly sank into her mind. And only then did she begin to realize several months had already passed. The realization came to Tieu Lac slowly at first, then all at once. It was like standing at the edge of a quiet river and suddenly noticing how deep the water really was. She looked at the elderly woman, but her eyes had lost focus. Her lips parted slightly, yet no words came out. The old woman did not rush her. She had seen that kind of silence before. It was the silence of someone whose life had suddenly split into before and after. "Tieu Lac," she said gently. "Think carefully. Has it really been that long?" Tieu Lac's fingers tightened around the edge of her clothes. She tried to search her memory, tried to count the days, the weeks, the moments she had ignored, because survival had taken all her attention. She had been working, moving, worrying, enduring. She had been so busy trying not to fall apart that she had not noticed what her own body was trying to tell her. Her voice trembled. "I didn't realize. I thought it was because I was tired. I thought maybe because I'd been working too much, eating too little, and because the weather kept changing." The elderly woman sighed softly, not blaming her, only feeling sorry for her. "That may be part of it," she said, "but from what you've told me, and from what I've seen, child, you may be pregnant." The room seemed to stop breathing. Tieu Lac stared at her as if she had heard the words but could not let them enter her heart. Pregnant. The word was so simple, but to her it felt impossibly heavy. It did not sound like joy. It did not sound like hope. It sounded like a door opening in the middle of a storm, forcing her to look at a future she had not prepared for. "No," she whispered. "Grandma, how could that be?" The old woman looked at her with deep concern. "I'm not a doctor. I can't say it for certain. But I have lived long enough to recognize some things. You're dizzy, tired, nauseous, and you haven't had your period for months. You need to rest, eat properly, and when you can, you should find a way to check carefully." Tieu Lac lowered her head. Her hand slowly moved to her stomach, almost without her realizing it. For a long moment, she just sat there, frozen by the thought that something inside her might already be growing quietly, depending on her, needing her, changing everything without asking if she was ready. And then, in the silence, she thought of Mr. Quan. She saw his face in her mind, the way he had looked at her with patience when she tried to pretend she was fine, the way he had helped her without asking for anything back, the way his presence had slowly become something she looked for, even when she told herself she should not. If the old woman was right, then this was no longer only about her pain, her loneliness, or her decision to leave. This would also be connected to him, and that thought made her heart ache in a way she could barely bear. The elderly woman noticed the change in her expression. "Child, is there someone you're thinking about?" Tieu Lac quickly lowered her eyes. "No, I don't know. I'm scared." That was not a lie, but it was not the whole truth either. She was scared of many things. Scared that the old woman might be right. Scared that if she really was carrying a child, then every decision from now on would become heavier. Scared that Mr. Quan would be pulled into a life full of pressure because of her. Scared that the love she had tried so hard to walk away from would become even harder to leave behind. Most of all, she was scared that if she told him, he would come for her, and if he came for her, she might not have the strength to leave again. The elderly woman reached out and gently touched her shoulder. "Don't think too much right now. Your body is weak. Stay here for a few days. Eat, sleep, recover first. Whatever happens later, you need strength to face it." Tieu Lac nodded, but her mind was already drifting far away. That evening, after the old woman had prepared a place for her to rest, Tieu Lac lay quietly on the simple bed and stared at the ceiling. The house was peaceful. Outside, the night slowly settled over everything. Somewhere beyond the yard, insects called softly in the dark, and the wind moved through the leaves like a tired breath. But inside her chest, there was no peace. The old woman's words repeated again and again. "You may be pregnant." Tieu Lac placed both hands over her stomach. She did not know whether to cry, to pray, or to apologize. If there really was a child, then this tiny life had come at the most painful moment of hers. A moment when she had no home, no certainty, no clear future. A moment when she was trying to disappear from the life of the man she loved. "Why now?" she whispered into the darkness, but no one answered. Only the night listened. Her thoughts returned to the farm, to Milu, to the small corner she used to clean, to the mornings when she worked quietly and believed that if she kept herself useful, maybe she would be allowed to stay a little longer. Then she thought of Mr. Quan. She imagined him coming back, looking for her, not understanding why she had gone. She imagined his worry, his disappointment, maybe even his pain. The thought cut through her. She sat up slowly. No, she could not let him keep waiting without an answer. She could not simply vanish and leave him with questions. But she also could not stay, not like this, not while everything was uncertain, not when her presence might make his life heavier than it already was. So before dawn, while the elderly woman was still sleeping, Tieu Lac found a piece of paper and began to write. At first, her hand trembled so much that the words came out unevenly. And Quan, just writing those two words made her eyes burn. She paused, took a breath, and continued. She wrote that she was sorry. Sorry for leaving without saying goodbye properly. Sorry for breaking the promise that she would stay and help him take care of the farm. Sorry for entering his life, receiving his kindness, and then disappearing when he had done nothing wrong. She wrote that she had never regretted meeting him. She wanted him to know that during the time they were together, she had felt protected in a way she had never dared to expect. She had felt cared for. She had felt happy. And because of that happiness, she was grateful. More grateful than she could ever say face to face. But she also wrote that love was not always enough. Sometimes reality stood between two people like a wall that could not be crossed just by wanting to. Sometimes, the more one loved someone, the more one had to think about whether staying would hurt that person in the end. She did not tell him everything. She could not. The truth inside her was still too new, too frightening, too uncertain. Even she did not know how to face it yet. So she only wrote what her heart could bear. "I still love you. But maybe because I love you, I have to leave." Tears fell onto the paper, blurring part of the ink. Tieu Lac quickly wiped them away, but more tears came. She bit her lip to keep from making any sound. The old house remained quiet around her. And in that quietness, every word felt like she was cutting a piece from her own heart and leaving it behind. When the letter was finished, she folded it carefully. Then she sat there for a long time, looking at it. Outside, the first pale light of morning began to appear. The world was waking up, but Tieu Lac felt as though something inside her had just ended. She stood slowly. Her body was still weak, but her decision had already hardened. She could not stay at the farm. She could not return to her foster parents. And now she could not let Mr. Quan find her before she understood what was truly happening to her. Before leaving, she looked once more toward the room where the elderly woman was sleeping. "Thank you, Grandma," she whispered. "I'm sorry." Then Tieu Lac picked up her small basket and stepped out into the early morning. Behind her, the letter remained. Ahead of her, the road was still uncertain. And somewhere far away, Mr. Quan was still carrying a gift he had prepared for a girl who was no longer waiting where he thought she would be.